Chris with CDH Custom Guitars, and today I'm really excited to finally and officially unveil my TS-622 travel shredder guitar. This guitar was designed and built purely out of necessity. You see, for the last 3 decades, my main job has been touring the world as a traveling sound engineer. And several years ago, I got back into playing guitar for the first time since my early 20s. And so I bought a store-bought travel guitar to take with me on the road to keep my chops in shape and keep my calluses and all that kind of stuff. And the guitar did really well for a little while, but eventually I started getting into writing and recording, and that's when I started noticing some real limitations with my store-bought travel guitar. The first one being its tuning. It just never stayed in tune. It was really hard to tune it and then to keep it in tune. The way the design was, the strings just bound up in too many places, and they would load up behind the nut or the bridge, and it was just a real pain to keep in tune. The other design issue I had with it is that there was only room for one single coil pickup, so it was really limited in the kind of sounds I could get out of it. It was also very uncomfortable to play. I could never, get it seated comfortably in my lap. The balance just felt strange, and it just didn't feel comfortable. And it was also uncomfortable because the action was pretty high on it. Another issue I had with it is that there was no whammy bar. And I'm an 80s guitar player at heart, and I've always had Floyd Rose tremolos, and this guitar had no whammy, and I was really missing having my Floyd Rose tremolo while on the road. So being a luthier as well as being a guitar player, I decided to design and build my own travel guitar to address all these issues that I was having. And so let's unveil it. Here it is. Start with this. Probably know what this is. And then go right in here. And here it is, the CDH Custom Guitars TS-622 travel shredder. And this guitar has definitely addressed all the issues that I had with my store-bought travel guitar. The first one, might notice that there's a Floyd Rose tremolo on here, and that kills 2 birds with 1 stone. The 2 birds being the tuning issues and the lack of a whammy, and so I've got one. Also, this has 2 humbucking pickups, as well as a volume knob with a push-pull coil tap for both pickups, 3-position pickup selector, and a kill switch, which I will demonstrate later on. The fingerboard is ambrosia maple with nice big jumbo frets and a 10 to 16 compound radius, so the action is really nice and low and comfortable. One other issue that I wanted to address when building a travel guitar was how to make it as small as possible without sacrificing the feel of a full-sized guitar. And my store-bought travel guitar tried to achieve this with a removable waist mount that it was bolted to the back of the guitar, and then when you wanted to play it, you had to unbolt it, flip it around, and then rebolt it back to the guitar. And it was just a clunky process to go through every time you wanted to play the guitar or put it away. So I wanted to improve upon that. And so what I did is I created a slide-out waist mount that's as simple as doing that. And there you go. It's nice and comfortable sitting on my lap, and it's in a nice, comfortable playing position, and I have effortless access to the upper frets. And the mechanism is really easy to operate. You just push on the lid stay, push the bout in, and when you want to play it, pull the bout out, click it in place, and there you got it, all ready to go. Something else I want to show you here real quick. This right here is the prototype, and for the last couple of years I've traveled all over the world with this very guitar. I actually used it to write and record much of my Breakout album. So it's been a really great guitar for me. It's really been a real workhorse for me while on the road. And I did discover a couple things that I wanted to improve upon from this guitar to the production model here. One of the first things I wanted to improve upon was adding a contoured forearm bout, which adds added degree of comfort when playing for extended periods of time. And then both these guitars have book match flame maple tops and white limba bodies. But this production model, I've added a 5-piece flame maple and purple heart neck, which adds stability to the neck, and it also looks really good. Also, a new addition was magnetic cavity covers, which gets you quick access to your cavities, particularly for adjusting your Floyd Rose. And I also have a trem stabilizer in here, which I'll get to in more detail in a little bit. The last big change I made was I recessed the mechanism for the slide out bout, which gives a nice, much cleaner look to the back of the guitar, and it's much more comfortable when you're playing the guitar. As for the tuners, I didn't want to use standard tuners on the headstock because I felt that they would be vulnerable to bending and breaking when you put the guitar in the overhead bin of an airplane. And believe me, I've had some really interesting conversations with my fellow airline passengers as they're taking their carry-on bag and jamming it repeatedly against my really nice one-of-a-kind custom travel guitar. But as I said before, I've been all over the world with this guy, and it's been a real trooper, and has sustained no damage. So that's a good thing. So yeah, what I actually did for the tuners is I got one of these headless guitar bridges, and I pulled the tuners out of it and installed them on this guitar. They tune by this little small thumb screw that's it's really low profile, so it doesn't stick out to get bent or broken. It is there is a little problem with getting enough torque on the tuner sometimes. So they have a 5mm Allen socket in there, so you can use an Allen key to get a little more torque on it while tuning. But better yet, the manufacturers of this bridge included this nice little crank here, and it has a 5mm Allen key attached to it, and you can put it right in there and get a little extra torque, similar to a standard tuning key. So that's how you tune it. But the main thing is, once it's in tune, it's like most, if not all, Floyd Rose equipped guitars. This has a locking nut, so once you got the nut locked down, all your tuning happens right here on the bridge. So tuning problem solved. Anyway, let's get to the sounds, shall we? I'll start off with a clean sound, and then we'll get to the fun stuff in a little bit. But first the clean sounds. First is the bridge pickup with clean sound with using Bias Amp 2 in Logic. So here's. Neck pickup. And both pickups. coil split on the bridge pickup. And coil split on the neck pickup. And both pickups. All right, now for the fun stuff here. Here's the bridge pickup with the distorted sound. And then the neck pickup. Coil split, the bridge pickup, and then the both pickups, neck pickup, I also put a treble bleed circuit in here so we can turn the volume down and keep that high end, and also clean it up a little bit. As promised, I'd like to tell you a little bit more about the trem stabilizer that I've installed in this guitar. So with floating vibratos, one problem you run into every now and again is that if you try to detune a string or you break a string, the springs back here are gonna pull your guitar sharp, and so that's, you know, you can't do that, you know. So if you break a string, or you're going to have to stop playing and fix that string. So what the trem stabilizer does is it creates a reverse tension on the sustain block via its own little spring. So when you dump the bar, it doesn't do anything. But when it's in the neutral position and say you detune to, say, do a drop D, these springs are going to try and pull that sustain block that way, but this little spring out here on this stabilizer is going to hold it in place so it won't move. But it will only move if you pull up on the bar, and then you can overpower that spring, and then there you go. Now you're pulling up, you know, there's dumping, pulling up. So it comes in really handy, you know. Like I said, when you want to say do a detuning to a drop D, so it's D down here. So it's still in tune. And still pull up on the bar. Let's turn back up to E. There we go. Still in tune. And that's what the trem stabilizer does. Also, it's really handy for keeping your double stops in tune. And the last little switch here that I promised I'd tell you about is one of my favorite little novelties. It's the kill switch. And that's a fun little device to have. just have fun with it. It's a fun little knob to a button to play with. And I actually have a song called Kill Switch that's that features this knob, and it's actually linked to the description below, where I have a couple performance videos of me playing this actual guitar, a couple of my songs from my breakout album, Guitar Dream. So be sure to check those out. Also, this guitar is listed on my website and also reverb.com, and I'll post links down below for that as well. I really thanks for watching, and be sure to like, subscribe, and share this video if you like. And again, thanks for watching.